Hey everybody, been a while. Hope everybody had a good holiday, a good New Year's, good everything. I certainly did. Did some traveling, got a little bit of R&R. It was definitely needed. Anyway, we're back now. This is going to be the first video of 2026. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of, let's put it this way. There is a lot to unpack, quite a lot to unpack, just from like the beginning of the year, honestly. There is a lot of things that took place, a lot of things we got to talk about. Yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, I'm going to kind of just go through, what my travel situation was, because I told you guys, on the last video I made that I was going to travel, and so it was going to be a couple weeks before there was a video. So I traveled to Brazil for just under 2 weeks for Christmas and New Year's. It was a really fun time, super awesome. A lot of really great photos, a lot of really great videos, of the trip. So basically, I left Brazil on Friday at 6 o'clock their time, which I'm going to point out is a 5-hour difference between where I live. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, Brazil time, in the capital, Brasilia, I left Brazil this last Friday. I didn't get home until 3 p.m. Saturday, which for me at that point was 8 p.m. It was a lot of ordeal. I won't get into too much of the story. Canceled flights and whatnot, and a bunch of stuff that I had to deal with. That had taken place during the trip. But let's go ahead and sort of break down why I want to make this video. You'll see the title. I won't say the title out loud. You'll see the title once the video comes out. But during the travels, everything was pretty smooth. I traveled through Lima, Peru. So that's the cheapest flights that I could get on the way home were basically Brasilia to Lima, Peru to Miami, and then I had a separate flight from Miami to San Francisco. Everything was smooth up until Miami. Miami was when I had issues. Again, won't get into it. It's not really relevant to the conversation, except the fact to describe what this video is really about. So basically, I get to Miami at like 8 p.m. at night on Friday, their time, again, 3 hours later from the West Coast where I live. And I had arranged to stay at my wife's cousin's house who lives in North Miami. So I, got there, ate some food, took an Uber to their house, stayed there, had my issues, went back to the airport and got to a gate of my flight. The gate area, there's like 3 or 4 gates in this area that I'm in. It's a terminal specific to this airline, which is going to remain nameless for now. Anyway, so sitting at the area, checking. My flight was already saying it was delayed, which, good news, it was only by 10 minutes, and the airline was able to stick with that, which I thought was very impressive given the track record of said airline with this stuff. Long story short, I'm sitting there. I'm early. It's basically I was there at like, I think 4 in the morning, and the flight didn't actually leave until like 6:30. So, I grabbed some breakfast, some coffee. I'm hanging out, just sort of dicking around on my phone, and I'm a very observational person, and I see a lot of things that are going on around me. Excuse me, hold on. There we go. And you know, I'm just noticing things going on. I'm noticing a lot of people. You know, there's a guy sitting next to me, and he kind of takes a deep breath, looks over at me, he said, "Oh, canceled, man." And he's like, "What about you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't think mine is." And he kind of gets up and goes over to the kiosk, you know, the flight, whatever you call that, the check-in desk at the gate, and starts asking questions. So I look over and I see my flight. I'm going through Denver. I see my flight to Denver, and then I see San Juan, Puerto Rico. And I'm like, oh, interesting, right? They were announcing a bunch of stuff about that flight earlier, and then not within 2 minutes, like it had to have been within 2 minutes, I look over, canceled. Oh, interesting. And I was like, I wonder if it's the same reason why one of my flights had gotten canceled. Which again, I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to say that's what happened. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what, I need to charge my phone some, you know. And so they have these little charging towers, and one of them wasn't working. So I walk over to the other one, and there's some people kind of sitting there, and they're sort of talking about what they're going to do. And, you know, that flight still says canceled. While I'm sitting there, it goes over and you know, one of the you know, the gate agents goes over the loudspeaker and says, you know, just confirming that this flight is canceled due to the airspace being closed. And I'm like, what? You know, I'm an aviation buff. That's something that, you know, this channel, we don't talk about that stuff on this channel. This channel's not really about that, but I love planes and I love the FAA and all that stuff. So I know a lot about it, and I'm like, there's no way they close airspace besides for dire reasons. Okay? So I go and I do a quick Google search, and boom, they close the airspace around Puerto Rico and that entire area because the US just invaded Venezuela, which I didn't know about until that moment. And I was like, holy hell, what the fuck, dude? Like, you know, so I scramble, I start looking at stuff to try to figure out what has happened. And sure enough, you know, I start finding out that they sent U.S. military, you know, they carried out U.S. military strikes on military targets, supposedly, in Venezuela. And then I come to find out a little bit later, they captured the president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife. Apologize if I butcher that name. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Somebody please correct me if I'm saying that wrong. But anyway, they captured the Venezuelan president, and I'm just sitting here like lost for words. Like, I don't even know what to say or how to even respond to that, or how to even like understand like what is even going on right now. Like, this is absolute and utter madness to me. And so I'm in a place where I'm just like, I don't really know how to even like piece together all this stuff that's going on, you know? And I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. Donald Trump is fucking terrible. And what the hell is this going on? We have a president who's attacking other countries. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Venezuela's president. The guy was a fascist. You know, and the guy was allowing drug cartels to run amok in his country and do all kinds of damage and hurt people and all kinds of other things, unspeakable things that we don't need to get into. But it was happening. You know, and so for me, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, well, you know, that was happening. So I'm not defending the guy, but we don't go into other countries, invade, and then kidnap their frickin' president and the first lady. You know, I mean, come on. This is, you know, there's on the international level, there is no justification for this type of behavior. and I guarantee you that it's being condemned across all things. Oh, so the other thing that had happened was that we got suspended by the UN. Now again, I am not a foreign policy expert. I don't know that much about how the UN works, so I'm not going to sit here and try to explain that because I don't know. But I do know that it has something to do with voting power in the UN for international policy, and the United States has been suspended, meaning that we don't have the capabilities of doing that. Again, somebody in the comments, please correct me if I'm incorrect about that. That is something I read that may be incorrect, but it's something that I had read about. So yeah, we've got ourselves suspended. We have multiple leaders across the country, across the world, who are condemning the actions of Donald Trump and the United States military. I'm going to go ahead and just say the quiet part and the plain part here out loud. Anyone who doesn't condemn these actions is either blind, not paying attention, or such a sycophant that they're not capable of doing so. I mean, come on, seriously. Let's be honest with ourselves. Like that, this is just not even like. There's nothing morally correct about anything that this administration has done in this circumstance. And yet it's being defended by all of the MAGA supporters. It's being defended by his cabinet and as a whole. And it's pretty wild to me that this is what we're doing. It's very wild to me that this is what we're doing. And, you know, it's crazy. I want you to tell me what you guys think. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one off here. Expect another video probably next week, maybe toward the end of this week, and given the fact that I missed a week or so. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching.